I've seen women fall into the trap of like, oh yeah, like I did sleep with him, but he was a man of God. Hey guys, welcome back to the Jay and Joe Show. Guess what? We're still in Women History Month, celebrating women, and we said that we're gonna bring to you the best of the best, the cream de la cream. And today I have a special guest on the show. Please join me as we welcome Jackie Ssenabulya. Yes. You guys have been asking and we are delivering. So by the title, you already know we're talking about singlehood and dating and all that good stuff. Jackie, what is even singlehood? Because you know I'm asking, because when you're filling out stuff, they say, are you like married, divorced, and single? There's no like, you either married, divorced, or single. Like there's no, oh, I'm dating or I'm engaged. It's just like, it's either those. It's so either, who are we targeting today?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say, for the purpose of this conversation, singlehood is people that are single, they're not dating, they're not engaged, they're not, you know, scheming for, well, you can be scheming and single. So yeah, you're not dating, you don't belong to anyone, and no one belongs to you romantically.
Okay, you don't necessarily have to be married.
Yes, you don't necessarily have to be married.
Okay, so if you're there and you're not scheming, and you could be scheming, but you're not married yet, this conversation is not married yet, not fiancéed up yet, and you don't have anyone in your, you know, on your side. This conversation is for you. And we really want to talk about this because I see a lot of gaps in the way people treat singleness. It's like a curse, especially in the culture today.
Yeah, it's like something you want to shake off and get rid of.
You run away from being single because after you graduate, why are you single?
You're 25? You're 25. You can't reach the other side of 25 when you're not, there's nothing here. Yeah.
Exactly. And with that pressure, people don't do it right. And so today we just want to enlighten what is singleness and how did you, Jackie, enjoy singleness, if you even did.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. My journey in singleness is interesting because so let me just give you like a timeline. So before I was, saying ages, is it like wrong to say to reveal my dating life? Okay. So from the time I was like up until 16, like I was single, like no boyfriend, no nothing. I had my first boyfriend at 16. And then we dated for like 2 years. And then we broke up 3 years in college. I was single. Then me and the same dude dated again for like almost a year, broke up, and then I was single for like another 2 or 3 years.
So you've been through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I feel like single has meant different things for me. And I remember like at 16, I wanted to have a boyfriend because everyone around me had a boyfriend. And I was the crazy girl because I never had a boyfriend, never dated, never did anything. So it was like, I had this like longing in me to have a boyfriend regardless of what the relationship was or like nothing was like, I want a boyfriend for this purpose. I mean, like I was raised in a Christian household, so I knew like no sex before marriage. The goal of dating is like marriage, but I like at 16, like marriage is like this abstract thing that you don't really actually think about in a real way, but
you're just having fun.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I feel like before 16, it was like this, it was very childish, very immature, very like I had no business
You're doing
going
for
there.
Other people.
Exactly. Just so I could be looked at as like okay, Jackie's normal.
Yeah, she's not cursed.
Exactly. And then like in between, after we broke up, in between that time, I remember I joined this fellowship and they were talking about like dating for like the first time, like where I heard it and it actually grabbed me. And it wasn't just about no sex before marriage, because in dating 16 to 18, those 2 years, I wasn't having sex. So I was like, well, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome.
It's them. You can talk to them.
Right. Like I can preach with you. Actually, give me a mic, you know? And so they were actually talking about dating and they're like, no, you need to do it with purpose. Like dating, you should be dating when you're ready to get married. Like it's a preparatorial type of thing. It's not just something you do lightly just for kicks. Like you should do it with a purpose. Liking someone isn't enough to date them. Like you need to see, does this person have potential to like, you know, raise kids with me? Does this person have potential to bring out the best in me? Like, like you're looking at things like in a serious way.
Intentional way.
Exactly. And so I looked at my relationship and I was like, wow, you know, maybe I'm not really there. Yeah. And so we broke up and then I was single for those couple of years. And I think that was like a very good, healthy, growing time for me. But then the pressure kicked in again. Right. So like around like when you're graduating college, it's like everyone's like booed up and like people are starting to like get proposed to and all this stuff. So I was like, you know what?
MRS University.
Yes. So it's like, I was like, I need to get locked down. I gotta like, so then we started dating again and it was like, we were more serious and more intentional, but at the same time, I don't think it was a very healthy in terms of like, or being organic, like organically me, him being organically himself. I felt the pressure to get married, but I wasn't necessarily ready to get married. So
you were applying what you learned, intentionality, and using it in the wrong time because there was pressure. And that you're doing it right, but in the wrong time. And you're thinking, this is gonna work. That's so deep.
It was so, I'm telling you, it was a mess. Like it was a mess. I remember I came home, me and him, like we were talking about marriage and stuff. And it was like, we were talking about it and we were like, yeah, we're going to get married. But then there was no steps towards actually this being a real thing. Like I was like, oh, I'm going to do my own thing. And like, I wasn't really worried about him. I wasn't worried about how I could support him in his life. He wasn't, you know, it was just, it wasn't making sense. And I came home and I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm not ready to get married. And she was like, okay. And so we were all just like praying about the situation. Anyway, the relationship ended. And then 2 years, I feel like that was like the real time where it was like,
preparation.
This was like singleness preparation. Like God was literally putting me in a season where he was like, you're going to take care of your family. You're going to do this and you're going to be challenged in
Jackie
this.
was out here like, what are you going to eat today?
So it was real, like serving. I really learned how to serve, you know, in those 2 years. And I feel like that was where it wasn't just like kicks and giggles. Like it became like a serious, like real thing. And so when I met Aaron, like we were just friends for like a year or whatever. And then like, life took us and we were like serious about the whole, well, now we're jumping into dating, but like it just, those levels of singleness, like it was different for me every single time. Amazing. Yeah.
Before it was like, we're out here outside. And then you're like, we got to go back inside. Yeah. But you said something. Yeah. You said, and that stuck out to me. I'm going to say it again. The intention was there the second time you dated, but it was with the wrong time. Yeah. And this is for somebody out there. You can have the right man, but you're a good man, yes. and he's doing everything, and your relationship could really like be amazing and it has potential, whatever, but the timing is wrong. You're probably not healed yet. You're probably impatient. You're probably not worked on yourself yet. You're probably you haven't gone through the pruning process. Yeah. And so today you're going to talk about how in the real singleness, you actually had to sit down and get yourself together. Yeah. To prepare for what's you're in right now. And I feel like that's where the singleness is. Some people run away from it. It's like, I currently gonna run. But where you're running to, honey, if you're not careful, it will burn you to the last piece.
Yes.
You know, and so singleness is amazing. I personally did not date anybody until I met Mr. Joshua
Senior girl.
And even with that, I still had the mentality, oh, I hate men. I don't need a man. And all of these things. And with that was also like some kind of toxicity rooted in pain and all of that. And, you know, we had to go through some pruning. So when you say pruning, I really understand.
Yeah.
And so what was that pruning season for you in like that intentionality of in that third phase of and what did it prepare you for what you have now?
Yeah. I feel like for me, it was really about falling deeper in love with Jesus because I got to the point where I did not want people to disturb my peace. Like, I was like,
I've been through it.
Right. Well, not even that, but like, I was happy. Like, I loved being like at home. I loved my family. I was like happy serving. Like, I just had this joy. And I was like, I don't want anyone to disrupt what God is doing in me. So unless you prove to me that you can be trusted, I don't want anything from you.
I don't want any storm.
Exactly. So it was like a place where I just became so like content with with who I was, with where I was at.
That's so powerful. Yeah. Because I see a lot of people is like, I want to get married because I'm tired of being alone. But
that was me the first 2 times.
Exactly. I'm tired of being alone. But I really, truly believe that when you're comfortable with who you are and you're comfortable with spending time to yourself, you take yourself on dates.
Yeah.
You know, love spending time by yourself. Yeah. And it's very fulfilling and it's very enriching and it's very like you just pour into yourself. When someone else comes, they're not gonna shake your boat too much because they are going to shake, you know, you're going to have to compromise to, you know, meet them in the middle somewhere. Yeah. But it's not going to shake too much. You're still going to know who you are. But if you are like, I'm tired of singleness because I'm tired of being alone, that's where we're going to say, don't
like, please.
You're still at stage 1.
You're going to hurt yourself, like for real. Because like, I feel like, okay, so I was very busy, right? During that time, I had a lot of assignments, a lot of work. I don't know if I fully like, I was learning how to take care of myself again because I'd been overloaded with all this work. But then like, I had finally gotten to this place where I was like, oh, wow, like this is it. This is it right here. Like, this is the sweet spot. And it was like, I would say this was, I don't know. I don't even know like the time frame of it, but I feel like this lasted for like a year where I was just like, this is good.
Comfortable with
this is good. And I was so like myself, you know, there wasn't me trying to be like someone else or me trying to copy what someone else does because I like the reaction that they got in their lives. Like it was like this space that I got where I was like, this is Jackie and this is like who I am. I cry when I worship. I cry when I'm hurt. I cry like when I'm happy. Like it was just like I've really become exactly like I've really become like the woman that I am. Like this is me. And so I never would have got there if I hadn't had like that time with the Lord, with like rediscovering who he is at a deeper level. Cause I remember before I moved to Uganda like 3 years ago, I was praying and I was like, Lord, like, what am I supposed to do? I don't feel like medical school is really it anymore, but like, I really need like your guidance. And he just told me to go home. And in me being home, it was like this like facility of training, you know, of him putting things in me that I didn't know I had or that I forgot that I had. The joy that I used to have as a kid, like that got robbed and taken from me from like a long time ago that I didn't even know it was gone. Like these deeply rooted insecurities that had taken a hold of me that I did not know I walked in fully. Like it was just being stripped from me. And I just feel like if I had gotten married and I was still there, it just would have been so much more to
baggage on baggage on
baggage. So I just feel like God really took the time to like take those things and mature me and stuff. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect in any way, shape, or form. Even right now in marriage, like I'm learning so much, but like I just know that if it had happened sooner, if it had happened before that time, marriage would have been terrible. It's just, but like God has just really shown me how singleness is not a punishment. It's not something that, like, oh, if you don't do the right thing or if you don't do this, like you're going to be single for the rest of your life. It's like, it's actually a gift and it's a blessing and it's a season that all of us need to take as like what it is, like a gift. And it's different because it has its benefits and it has its disadvantages. I mean, like when you're single, like there's that thing in the back of your head where you're like,
you're third wheeling, okay?
Yeah, you're going on three-legged dates with people. You're looking at other people be so in love, and you're like, oh, when am I gonna get that? And people are calling their people beautiful, and they're getting stuff for Valentine's Day, and they're telling each other how much they love each other and all this stuff. And so you see that, and you have to deal with all of that, and well, the pressure, and also like, I kind of want that for myself, you know? Yeah. And so like, I would say that like, that's one of like the disadvantages of it. But like, if you can look past that, like there's so many benefits as well, because like, first of all, you don't have to worry about someone else. Like you don't have to worry about someone else's child. Like you're not concerned. You're not concerned about, you know, if they eat or if they don't eat. You're not concerned if they're not happy, if they're what.
You don't have to share food, okay?
No,
your food is yours.
Exactly. So it's like you just see how it has its own benefits. Like you really get to be, I don't want to say selfish, but you really get to focus. Yeah, that's the right word. You get to focus on yourself.
You package it really well, because you said you lost the joy, like you were able to recover the joy that you didn't even know you lost. And I think that's powerful, because there's a lot of people, they don't even know who they are. Like they're just going, but when you really sit down and ask yourself, like, who am I? Like you really do not know. And I feel like being single is an opportunity for you to fully come aware of who you are. Yeah. And sometimes because of busyness of life, like we run away from those things. And let me tell you something, if you don't come to terms with let me say demons, I'll use that word, the demons, those things that really like the Lord needs to prune off of you and shake off of you, and you know, and you enter into something with someone's child, you're gonna hate it. Yeah. And the other day I read someone say, you know, I'm married, but I'm so unhappy. And those are the things that we want to run away from. Singleness is an opportunity to like, someone's not gonna like gaslight you because you know exactly who you are. Yeah. Someone's not gonna manipulate you because you're so aware. Like the enemy is not gonna try to put lies into your head, and you know, because the lies of the enemy, let me tell you, those things can
it's real.
Like telling you you're unqualified, telling you you're not beautiful enough, telling you, you know, you can't amount to anything, when you're, let me say, a season of waiting, and it's like, this is how it's gonna be for the rest of your life, you know. But when you like, I like that you say like all of that knowledge comes from the Lord, like knowing exactly who you are, and he keeps like just giving you insight of who you are. And that's so important because you're not going to get that time. You will, but it's a lot harder when you have somebody on your side, because you also have to deal with the other person. So I like that you really you package the things that you didn't even know you had, or the things you didn't know you didn't even have. When you really slow down and focus on yourself, you're able to come to terms and love yourself even better. And now you know how you want to be loved. Some people don't even want to be loved. They see other people getting flowers, they also want flowers. You don't even like flowers.
Right.
You know?
And one thing that I remember, me and my friends were having a conversation about whether or not everyone is supposed to be married because of Paul, what Paul said. I think it's in Corinthians, when he was like, it's better to not be married if you must be married. Like you can if you're struggling with sexual temptations, whatever. And I was really thinking about that, and I was like, wow, because he was talking about it's better because you get to be more intimate with God. You're God becomes your only source of intimacy. There's no one else that's gonna give you that deep fullness, deep love. Because I mean, parents, right? Siblings, friends, they don't see everything. They don't. Right? The only people that see everything are gonna be your spouse and the Lord. That's it. And so he's talking about how it's better because all you have is Jesus. That's it. And so for him, he was like, it's better, and get married if you must.
That's hard, because now I'm sure 10 people just left the chat. They said this is not, this isn't it.
Yeah.
I was here to get the 4 steps
on how to get a man.
Out of singleness. You just threw a whole bomb out there, not getting married. Oh, Jackie, we just lost 10 people. We'll catch you another next episode. But that's so important because the real purpose of marriage, you have to know that before you even tread in the water. Keep going.
So I just feel like we have to go into this with a kingdom mindset. So much of why we enter marriage or even dating is because of the things that we need. I am going to get into a relationship with someone because I need to get my hair did. I got to get my nails did. I want to go eat expensive food. I want
someone to open the door.
Right. I want flowers. I want Valentine's Day to be special. So
I need my family to see that I amount to something.
Right. So it's that's we have many reasons why we want to get married, and a lot of it revolves on the things that we want, the things that we need. And I just feel like if we can change our perspective in marriage of looking at it from the kingdom perspective of, okay, in entering marriage, how are me and my husband going to serve the Lord?
What is our purpose together?
What is our purpose together? And then also, how am I going to serve my husband? How am I going to bring Jesus out of him? How am I going to partner with the Holy Spirit to make him the best that he can be? Instead of it being I want to get married so I can be cuddled.
And you have all these expectations.
Right. And it's ridiculous because your spouse is a human being. They're not going to be able to meet your needs. Only Jesus really can meet your needs. And so it's if you look at it like that, marriage is a lot more work than being single. So it's there's benefits and there's disadvantages in both things. So I just feel like if we look at things soberly and with the right mindset, we wouldn't be rushing into marriage, and even just if you're talking about, if you're someone and you're watching and you're struggling with sexual immorality and temptation, it's you need more Jesus. The solution isn't to get married, because
to get Bob, Peter, and Pam.
That's not your solution. Your solution needs to be Jesus first. Because if you get married and you're still struggling with those things, sex is there, but you're still gonna have your own issues because you know, you didn't find the fountain that is overflowing, which is the Holy Spirit,
which is
and
Jesus.
the Lord. Yeah. So I just feel like we really need to change our perspective on singleness, on dating, on marriage, and to really be kingdom people, to really be the church and the body of Christ in it.
Okay. So, you know, there are people who are obviously dating already. You have already jumped the cards. You can take them back. But for the most part, you've probably gone the long way, you know, and you kind of have to work at it. And there's so many things that we do, mistakes that we make during the dating process. I'm going to share mine, but I want you to go first. What mistakes do you feel like, if I wouldn't have done that during my dating process because, I don't know, maybe carried over or... Okay, I'll go first. Okay. I did a lot of projection, you know, because I was doing my, you know, healing work and trying to get right with myself, but I found myself doing a lot of projection on Josh. Like, oh, this looks very similar. You know, this looks like something I you know, seen, or the red flags that I hear about, like, and I'm going to run, and I just quickly escalate it into something that it's not at all. Mm-hmm. And so most of the time we fought during the dating process because I just overthought and I labeled him what he wasn't because of what someone else is, if that makes sense. And so I found myself going through those I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
I was losing my mind. But we thank Jesus.
Brought you into his marvelous life.
He literally brought me back. But no, that was really going to wreck our relationship. And I'm so glad that I went through that. I hate that it had to happen, but I also am glad that it happened then in the marriage, because it's a real thing. It was really playing me. And so, yeah, that's something I really regret doing. And I wish, and had I not done it, maybe, I don't know, the quality of life then, we wouldn't have like a history of fighting much. You know? But it definitely, well, I'm saying this because once you breach trust, it's really hard to like build it back again. And there are spaces that it kind of shut off, and we had to like work a lot harder to open back up again because of that projection, if that makes sense. Because it's like, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm not that man you think I am. And I'm like, and it's like, and so he had to work a lot harder to like trust that I see him the way he sees himself, for who he truly is. Yeah.
I would say for me, so, okay, I have standards, right? Standards are a good thing when you're dating someone. I think it's a very good thing. But I think I overdid it to the point that I set these expectations. And it was like, either you do this or like bye, you know? And so it was like this crazy, like, I just said it like,
I'm the child of the Most High.
But like, I was just so, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it was almost to the extent where I knew Aaron. I'm not saying I did not know him. I knew the man, I know the man, but like now it's like I'm learning more about him in marriage. And if I had been more like, more laid back, then I would have gotten to know him more in dating. And
so you pushed him to do things that he...
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, in dating. Yeah. And so I think for me, that's what, because you want someone to be themselves throughout the whole process. And
but they're trying to please you because Jackie wants to do this.
Exactly.
And so I don't do that anytime, but for Jackie, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then that's what you expect now.
Exactly. That's and then when you get married, and then it's like, I can't sustain this.
But he said, I did not start. You made me do it.
Exactly.
And then you think he started something that he cannot sustain.
So now you're changing. Now you're a different person. Literally, yeah. So no, we've been learning.
That's
good. Yes.
So for everybody out there, please do not lay expectations on your man, on your girl. If your girl can't cook, don't try to make her. She's not gonna buy takeout food and put on the plate and act like she cooked it.
There you go, babe.
And when you get in there, it's gonna be like she could not even boil water, you know. So let's not put expectation on our significant others, and let us try to be as real and truthful as possible. That's so funny. Yeah. I love that.
I mean, I'm not gonna say Aaron definitely did not like lie or anything during the process. It was just like, I'm gonna do everything I can to please.
Because you want
Jackie.
that.
And you know, in the dating phase, it's like, it's so fresh, you know?
Yeah, I know.
And me and him, like, we didn't date super long, so it was like very fresh throughout
Jackie
the whole
was wanting doors opened.
Like princess treatment.
Pick me up, drop me off.
Actually, yes. Like princess treatment, yes. So, Aaron's really patient, man.
That's so funny. But yeah, projection, let's not project. Girls tend to overthink. Mm-hmm. Let your man breathe. Please get off his neck. Yeah. And for the women, like, just let it happen in the most beautiful way.
If you're dating and you're around my age, 25, 26, like later 20s, like you're probably not going to date for a long time. Yeah. Like if you're a college student, and then you start dating and you have like 3 years together, you're getting to, you learn a lot more about the person in 3 years. But like if you're older and you're dating, you don't have a lot of time to see all of the seasons of the person. And so for me, it was like very important to see like character, like what is like the essence of the person. Like you need to be able to get a sense of that. And if you can't get a good read of that, run.
It's not worth it. You know, when you talk about, there's so much to talk about. We could spend all day because there are people who are dating and think it's okay to live with their spouses.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in the Christian community, people do that.
Yeah. And the mentality of you can't buy the cow without
knowing what it's capable of.
Yeah, don't do that, guys. Like, you know, marriage is a holy thing. Yeah. And I'm not saying God can't redeem, because God is literally redeemer. But like, if you go into dating and you're like, I gotta see everything, like that's not the point of it. Like a lot of it is like God leaves it to like, it needs to be mystery so you can grow together. And so like, even like everything in marriage is a journey, but like, I just feel like the important things of dating is like the essence of the person, not necessarily his body, you know? So like,
that's literally the last thing. Like it's just the
icing on the cake. Most of it is like, it's like spirituality, emotional. Like as women, like you really need that emotional, you know?
Say it in caps. Emotional.
Yeah. So how does this man handle your emotions? How does he manage you as a person?
You could ignore it, like you're crying or you're really having a hard time and you can't even read the difference between your up and your down. And you have to go outside to get that, you know, to your family, like all of that stuff. You need somebody who's really fully going to commit to like helping you get out of whatever it is that you're in and helping you become a better person.
There's Robert Madu, he was teaching on like dating, and he was talking about like the boxes, and it was like the biggest box at the bottom was spirituality, right? Spirituality, and then the next box was
intellectual.
Emotional, intellectual. Okay, the next box was intellectual. Was another big box, not as big as spirituality. Then it was social, right? And then it was physical. There was emotional too. Okay. Well, okay. So
we'll bring it into the
so there
between
was
spiritual and intellectual.
right. We can mix intellectual and emotional. But like, so you see how like he was basically talking about how like the foundation needs to be solid. If you base it off of physical and that's your base, that's your basis. If you want to marry a man because he's good in bed, No, I met someone who was telling me they could never be with some guy because he wasn't good in bed. And they were, and he was a good man, like wonderful man, loved her, took care of her. Wow. She didn't want to be with him because he wasn't good in bed. But this other guy that was good in bed, she was considering because he was good in bed, but there were no other qualities that made him a husband.
Let me tell you something. Your character, it's so hard to change character.
Yeah.
When you find a man that's consistent, those are things that you learn from a young age. Honesty, consistency, discipline. Those are things that you can't really change overnight.
Yeah.
Bed, you can go see a counselor.
Right. There's so many options.
So if
there's so
you
many
find
options.
somebody that, you can, the character and all of that stuff is great, please keep that man.
Yeah.
But things like outfit, you can go and change.
You can buy that man's clothes, that man's clothes. Yeah.
If it's like, oh, he doesn't have a car, but he's disciplined and he, gives his tithe and his all of this.
And what he has, he uses it to take care of you.
Exactly.
Like,
you can grow into the wealth, but let's not even play
that should not be a factor.
That should not be a factor. And then
to determine whether or not you marry someone.
And then there are people who, I think it's Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. There are people who are in abusive relationships, dating, and they're like, no, we're not gonna get out. I'm saying you're not married to this man. You don't have to be bound. Sorry to this man. I don't know who this man is. But you don't have to stay stuck in places that you're not being fed and poured into. Yeah. I see girls so stuck. And you know why? Because this man is taking care of their basic needs. But they're beaten up every single night. Yeah. They're cheated on every single night. Yeah. They're going through so much abuse. But because they probably wouldn't get the basic needs elsewhere. And it's not even that much. Please don't sell your soul because of a good meal and a place to lay your head. Yeah. And I probably wouldn't understand what your situation looks like. You probably don't have, any parents or whatever, but it's not worth it. Yeah. It's not worth being in there because you're literally you're probably going to have kids with that person and it's just going to be perpetuated from generation to generation. But if you get up now and seek the Lord and pursue the Lord, and He shows you what you're supposed to be, who God called you to be, all that your situation is temporary. And right now we're just encouraging you to get up and step out of that with so much the faith and confidence and get out of that relationship because there's so much for you on the other side. Yeah. You literally don't have to stay there. You don't have to be treated in that way, shape, or form. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that because I just feel like that's a lot of people because they can't take care of themselves. Yeah. And a man is just it's kind of prostituted out. Yeah. But in a confined space every single day. You just want it because of what you can give. Yeah. And, encouraging you can get out and your life can be much, much better.
Can be transformed.
Well, that was great. You have anything?
Wait, I do want to say something. The last thing, I just want to talk about living a life of holiness that honors God. The Bible says, Jesus says, I can't remember. I think it's in John where he's talking about my friends love me and they obey me, so they love me through their obedience. And so I just want to say you cannot pick apart the Word of God and decide this is what I'm gonna do, but I'm not gonna do this. And God is merciful, and He will redeem you and He will bring you out of whatever situation, but there will still be consequences. There are always consequences. And so don't allow the temptations, the pressures, the things of life to make you act in a way that does not please God. Let God be your first love. And if He isn't, ask Him to help you make Him your first love. Because the truth is, He's everything. Before a man, before a woman, before children, before the houses, the cars, the good clothes, the makeup. Jesus is literally everything. And so my prayer today is that whatever you have listened to, that you take away at least this, that God has to be your everything in everything that you do and everything that you pursue, and to allow that to be your guiding compass, not someone else's like spiritual walk. Because I've seen women fall into the trap of like, oh yeah, like I did sleep with him, but he was a man of God. Like, don't allow that to be like someone else's relationship with God. Be like, oh, well, if they're doing it, then it should be okay.
Fine.
No, like let the word of God be your guiding compass. Yes, English. So yeah, like I just really wanted to encourage like whoever is watching, like you don't have to know everything. You don't have to have all the secrets. God wants your heart before all things.
Doesn't he write the most beautiful stories?
Yeah.
He wants to write yours today.
Come on now.
Joyce Meyer.
Joel Austin.
Yeah, Joel Austin. Joanne Austin. That's funny. Anyways, that could have gone totally wrong. It's like Joanne Austin.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Anyways, guys, I know it was a long episode, but if you made it this far, you're the real OG. And I hope that you picked something out of this. I know there's no way you came all this far and didn't enjoy it. So just click that like button, share it so it can reach as many people as it can, and it will help and change their lives. Till next time, I really love this month.
It's great.
We're running this thing, huh? Bye.